If you're lucky to be amongst those people that after school, after NYSC, they got job opportunities very close to where their parents live, so you can comfortably go to work from your parents' house, I would advise you stay back in your parents' house for about 6 to 1 year when you gather enough money before you venture out to rent an apartment, especially in this Lagos, because the street is crazy. Everyday bills, it's mentally draining. However, there are certain things you should know that can help reduce the mental stress of renting an apartment. What's up, fam? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Isabella Awan and you're watching Adulting with Bella. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much for sticking with me. I love you, and if this is the first time of watching any of my videos or you're yet to subscribe to my channel, I love you too. Just go ahead and click on the red subscribe button. Thereafter, hit on the notification bell so that you'll be among the first to get notifications of my videos whenever I drop them. Today we are talking about how to successfully rent an apartment, the Lagos edition. I decided to title this the Lagos edition because I have kind of rented apartments in like 3 different states in Nigeria, and I realized that they all had different experience. So when I was in school, I lived off campus. I didn't live in my parents' house. I actually got an apartment very close to school. That was a different experience altogether, renting that apartment. While I was serving in Kano, I also had to rent an apartment, and it was a different experience. But you see, renting apartments in Lagos, it is on a different level. I mean, if you're not mentally ready to get an apartment in Lagos, please stay back in your parents' house. So legit, this video is for those of us who are about to venture into life, or who have ventured into life already and they are like staying on their own. You might maybe have messed it up, but you can always get it right. There is always room for improvement. So let's dive right into the topic. Let's know what it is like to rent an apartment in Lagos. First thing to consider when renting an apartment in Lagos is location. I feel like people tend to forget that Lagos is not just the city. Lagos is not just a local government. Lagos is not the equivalent of a Port Harcourt. Lagos is not the equivalent of a Calabar. Lagos is actually the equivalent of a Cross River State and a River State and a Kano State. Like, Lagos is a state on its own, and it has different local governments. But everybody keeps telling you, I live in Lagos, I live in Lagos, I live in Lagos. Lagos is not that small as we think it is. So the first thing to consider when you are about to rent an apartment in Lagos is your location. Where exactly would you be staying in Lagos? Which local government? Which axis? So when you are picking your location, I feel like there are 2 things you actually need to consider before choosing that location. The first one is your accessibility to your place of work or your place of school, and the second thing is the lifestyle and the cost of living in that area. One thing you might not know is that depending on where you live, you tend to buy things at different rates inside this Lagos. I don't even want to go into that because that would be a gist for another day. But you would have to understand that the place you live in Lagos will determine how much you would buy your bathing soap. Yeah, things as easy as bathing soap. How much you would be able to afford like food from eateries. The same eateries located in different places charge different amounts for the same type of food. It is just funny, but that is how Lagos is. So you also have to consider if you're willing to live the standard of life that is applicable to that area. The second thing you have to consider when you're about to move out of your parents' house or you're about to rent an apartment is your budget. How much do you have to rent an apartment? Because it's not about choosing location. All of us want to live in Lekki. All of us would like to live in Fia. All of us would like to live in Ikoyi. But can you afford the type of apartments in these places? So yes, your budget is like very important. When you're estimating your budget, how much it will cost you to rent an apartment, put 3 things in mind. First of all is the cost of the apartment, your annual rent. Put that in mind. That is like the most important thing. The second thing you need to consider is your agency and your agreement fee. Your agency and agreement fee is like the most important thing to the person that will help you get the apartment. And the last one is furnishing your apartment. You will need a bed, you will need a stove, you will need fan, you will need stuff to actually set up your apartment. So those are the 3 things you need to consider when you're making your budget for an apartment. Do you actually have this money? However, the third one is not really necessary, because you could get your apartment, pay the agency fee, pack in, then with time you start like setting up your apartment, buying things one after the other. You don't need to do it all at once, but you just need to put it at the back of your mind that you would need to furnish your apartment. So how much do you have? Now, the budget you have for your apartment would also go ahead to determine what type of apartment you can afford. Are you going to be living in a single room and sharing public toilets and bathroom with kitchen? Or you want to stay in a self-con, that's a room with your own personal toilet and bathroom with kitchen? Or you want to do a mini flat? Or you want to stay in maybe a 2, 3, 4 bedroom flat? You would like to share with somebody? Would you like to have a roommate? Your budget would actually determine all of these things. Another thing you have to consider when renting an apartment in Lagos is your time and stress to actually go for apartment hunting. House hunting in Lagos is not a joke. First of all, these agents are crazy out here. Like, agents would stress your life and you now ask, like, did you commit a crime to reach out to this person to help you search for an apartment? First of all, they will collect you what they call sign up money or registration fee of about 10k. Some people get 7k, some people as low as 5k before they even start showing you any apartment. I don't have a problem with that. Before I employ the services of any agent, I need to tell you the type of apartment I want, the budget I have, and the location that I want it. Do you have an apartment of this standard or not? If you don't, let me look for someone else who has it. But this agent would convince you that yes, they have the type of apartment you're requesting for. And after you pay the registration fee and you see the kind of apartment these people take you to, you would be like, what the hell? Is this what we agreed? You would, oh my, I don't even want to talk about it. Are you actually ready for that mental stress? You would also have to dedicate time to actively search for an apartment. Also, I would advise that if you're searching for an apartment in Lagos, you need to give yourself at least a 2 to 3 month buffer. Don't ever go hunting for an apartment in Lagos when you are desperate. Because you would get an apartment that after 2-3 months of staying, you would start regretting why you actually got the apartment. I have been in that position, and I don't think it is a position I would want any of my followers, any of my subscribers to be in. So please, I'm begging you, when you're going to search for an apartment, give yourself some buffer, give yourself enough time to go through different apartments before you finally make your choice on which apartment you would like to stay. Another thing you need to consider before you actually pay for an apartment is the utility conditions in that apartment. Please find out the electricity situation in that apartment. Is it going to be a prepaid meter or a postpaid meter that you sharing with somebody, or you have your own privately? Is there debt on these meters? Do enough investigation for your water supply. Be sure that you would get constant water in your apartment. Who is going to take care of maintaining the water pump if it has issues? Just if there is like a standby generator in case there is no light, so that you can at least still have water. You cannot be in a situation, for example, when the national grid fell, you cannot be in a situation where there is no light, there is no water to bath to. The accessibility to your house, yes, the road that leads to your house, please make sure that it has drainage, or it is tarred, or it is something that you could actually manage during the rainy season. Because it is when rain starts falling, you realize that you need a rain boot or probably a canoe to come out of your house and get to the junction to access transportation to work. Your sanity, yes, I mean the noise. Don't go and rent an apartment where your room window is just by the generator house. Like, your sanity, your quietness, your calm and quietness is really important. It is part of your basic amenities in this Lagos, and you have to negotiate it. Another thing you need to consider is the material used in building the house. Please check the pipes, if they are good pipes. Check the walls, because these people use sand to build concrete house for people, and when you're trying to maybe nail maybe a cabinet or a cupboard or something to the wall, you just see the wall falling. When you finally see an apartment that you think you would like to stay in, one thing I would advise you to do is try to talk to the landlord of the apartment directly. If it is possible to see the landlord, please see the landlord and talk to the landlord. Don't if there is no landlord, if there is some people call it apartment manager, please see the apartment manager and have an extensive conversation with this person before you go ahead to pay. Why am I asking you to do this? Because inside this Lagos, people have very crazy rules about the apartment. Some will tell you that they don't want single ladies to stay in the apartment, and you're like, am I not paying you? Some will tell you they don't want Christians or they don't want Muslims. They have religious bias with the people who stay in the apartment. I even had one that told me that if you're a working class lady, actually met all her criteria. She didn't want Igbo, I'm not Igbo. She wanted a single person, I'm single. She needed a working class person, I'm working class. When I got to talk to her, she found out that I work from home sometimes. She said no. She wants someone who wakes up in the morning and go out for work and come back later in the evening. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, another thing you need to consider, I think this one should have even come before you start talking to your landlord, is the security of the area. Now, there are two levels of security. The first one is the security of the area, the street where you live in. Is it a place that you can come back from work late and safely move from the junction to your house without anybody harassing you or stuff? I know, no place is safe in Lagos, but there are places that can be considered as relatively safe. Please try to go for those places. The second level of security is actually your internal security in the house. You have a gate man. Does your compound have a gate? Is it fenced round? Like, just be sure that all your windows have burglary proof. Your doors, if possible, also have burglary proof. So your security is also very important when you're picking an apartment in Lagos. Finally, the last but not the least, I have this saying: every other thing I have mentioned is important, but the kind of people you would be staying with, the neighbors you would have, is important, because these people can actually determine if you would have peace of mind or not. You would have tenants that, or you have co-tenants that would just deliberately want to stress your life. People that landlord have said don't keep your generator in a particular place, it is that same place they want to keep the generator and be disturbing your life. People that would take out like more than ₦500,000 naira to rent an apartment, but to pay bills like that are like 1,000 naira, 1,500 for cleaning of compound, maybe to fuel gen, for them to pump water, maybe to repair stuff. They find it difficult to do it, and it makes this thing stall. Like, you wouldn't ever want to live with people like that. You want to live with people who have like the same type of mentality with you, that believe that their home should be a humble abode for them, and that all the tenants should work together to make sure it is as comfortable as possible. Your neighbors is very important. Try to get to know your neighbors. Let me give you another gist. Imagine having a neighbor that prays loudly in the middle of the night. I don't have a problem that you're praying, but you could actually do your prayers without disturbing your neighbor. You just need to pay attention to the people you would be cohabitating a compound, a street, an area with. Please, these people have an important role to play with your peace of mind. If I have missed any important thing to note when renting an apartment, please comment down below. Also tell me if there is anything you regret in your apartment because you did not pay close attention to. This would help people who are reading the comment section to know things to look out for. Things I've listed is just based on my experience. Maybe I have missed one or two things that really did not happen to me. I also want to hear from you the things that people, including myself, should consider when renting an apartment. Till I see you next time on Adulting with Bella. Bye for now. Now.